Hello, welcome back. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge Labor Talk Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you hanging out with us for the afternoon. That is for sure. Hey, folks, it's with great pleasure that I get to reintroduce Admiral Joe Sestak, candidate for senator in the state of Pennsylvania. Admiral, welcome back.
Great to be back with you, Charles.
Joe, it's always a pleasure. We appreciate it. And you have been busy. I mean, my goodness gracious sakes alive. You were just out in some of the neighborhoods, the United Neighborhood Center in northeastern Pennsylvania. Talk to us about that and the Dress for Success in Lackawanna.
I'd love to, and you're right. We've done a lot of walking after that 422-mile walk across Pennsylvania, doing events every day. I continued a couple more hundred, and actually for my birthday, my daughter gave me new boots.
Oh, well, there you go.
But here's the issue. This is one where I still wanted to continue to walk in the shoes of the working family and those low income that are trying to get into a really good job. And so I went to the United Neighborhood Center up there in Scranton, and it was a wonderful, wonderful place where we sat there and talked about the issues of those that sometimes just need a helping hand, including seniors. Man, I met World War II seniors there. He was baking, and yet the challenges that they have. And then I met and spoke about those who are domestically abused and the batterers and how do we take care of them. And then I walked down to Dress for Success, a wonderful organization that has 7 centers here in Pennsylvania, where they started years ago to say, as particularly lower income, were able to say, I'm going for a job. And they're able to, because perception matters, get them in the right type of outfit, suit, to go out and do it. And then a wardrobe. And then now, though, that organization is so much more. It actually sits there and has training and helps people as they enter the workforce. Often those life skills that aren't always taught in some of the schools that aren't up to speed are able to say, here's how you approach someone, here's what you do, and gives them a network and talks with them even after the job to make sure that their transition, as we get women to be more equal, because they only make 77 cents to 92 cents on the dollar as a man in an equal job, gets them in that door and gets them started on a great career.
Absolutely, and this is the kind of thing that needs to be done. I mean, Admiral, how do we make sure that programs like that and others are getting the resources they need to do their job?
A great question. And we need warriors. That's what we need, who understand that, we don't want government to interfere with our individual freedoms of press and religion freedoms, but we do want a government that can be ambitious in furthering opportunities for the livelihoods of the people, because after all, it's a government of, for, and by the people. As I sat there and talked for Dress for Success, they do get funding lines from the state, but none from federal government. And I said, I want to take that on when I'm United States Senator and fight for it, because they showed and have studies that just that one center alone saves $17 million, those centers, by having people then get a job. They get the job, and the tax revenues, et cetera, that come from the productivity helps others. Jack Wagner, when he was Auditor General, did a study on Dress for Success and showed how accountable it was and how rewarding it is for everyone with a productive citizen, giving us the revenues that we can continue to do stuff with those revenues, like get the transportation system fixed. This is a win-win with a warrior you'd have to have that can explain we all benefit by programs like this.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. And this is the kind of thing. My goodness, it doesn't take much, and there's a lot of great people out there. You give them a little bit of resources, and you give them a little bit of support, and they can work wonders. And my goodness gracious, that's the kind of thing that we need to do.
Absolutely. Look, when we were down there, and when I went to these places and elsewhere, I've been talking about the things like the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit that we have to make permanent, because we gave some additional provisions so that if a family, for example, has 3 children, not just 2, the child tax credit is then a little bit more. Look, this is something even Ronald Reagan understood was good when he initially started the earned income tax credit, and so that you're able to have a little bit of money to have your child be taken care of, and then when you're at work, when you come home, you've got a job, you've got a home, you're giving revenues to everyone because you've got a job, and we all benefit from it. Those are the kind of fights we've got to be out there for.
Absolutely. Admiral, let me turn you to a different kind of fight, something that you're aware of, something that you have worked on in the past as a professional. I got to tell you, as a military member, I know that non-conventional forces, terrorists, they're working real hard to get people scared. They're working real hard to get people to change their way of life. And as soon as the rhetoric starts going, and we've heard some of this rhetoric, and I'll talk about this in a second. As soon as the rhetoric, the political rhetoric and grandstanding starts, terrorists point to those who they might recruit and say, look, we've scared them. Look, we've got them changing their way of life. Look, they're afraid of us. Join us. And oh, by the way, those people over there hate you, and you have to defend yourself as a terrorist against them. I mean, we've got people running for president talking about violating the Geneva Convention, killing terrorist families and children. We've got people talking about violating the Constitution of the United States, violating people's civil rights. And quite frankly, the rhetoric and the kabuki that some are talking is actually helping ISIS win its public affairs message when it comes to recruiting new people. How, as a senator of the United States and as a retired admiral and a member of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, how are you going to stop this and put this back into where it needs to be, a law enforcement and national security issue?
When I'm, Lord willing, in the United States Senate, I want to fill the deficit that is down there on both sides of the aisle with the professionalism that I learned by being on the ground in Afghanistan when I was head of the Navy's anti-terrorism unit for a very short mission, nothing like the Army and the Marine Corps, but then took command of my carrier battle group. And we understood that you needed a strategy that had key benchmarks by which you measure an outcome that not just wins the war, but secures the peace. I'm going to make sure that I'm a voice, like I did when I was in the Navy and was asked about Iraq. I said, this is a tragedy if we do this, because it's not a clear or present danger to us. And when we toppled Saddam Hussein, no one had a plan for how the day after was to secure the peace. And that's my worry with ISIS today, is we're slipping forces in there. And we have people like in that debate that says, let's just carpet bomb it. All of a sudden, wait a moment. If we're slipping special forces in there and the Kurds are being helped and they take over the Sunni area, and then the Sunnis come back after ISIS has moved out, the Sunnis then will be fighting the Kurds. And you have to have a plan to secure the peace, because militaries will stop a problem, I will tell everyone, but we don't fix it. Does anybody think we fixed Iraq? I will bring the professionalism to say, let's walk this through. And then for those who want to say about differentiating Christian from Muslim, I will tell them all that I walked in a Muslim country on the ground in Afghanistan to fight a war against criminals, the Al-Qaeda. And then I was, to do a very short mission, nothing I have to emphasize like the Army and Marine Corps. But then when I was in my carrier battle group, I fought with those of the Muslim faith who I would have laid down my life for, and they for me, because our nation's ideals are most important, freedom of religion. And I will say, how can you fight a war that will actually use rhetoric, that will actually inspire others to be against us? Be a professional. Take down that adversary. Do the damage we must do to them in order to secure our peace. But understand, it's a populace out there that wants very much what we want. Those who are suffering and are being held hostage by ISIS, they just want a fair opportunity to have a livelihood that can prosper.
Absolutely. Admiral, listen, I think it's important that you get into the Senate, and simply for the fact that there are a lot of things that need to be done on behalf of the United States, on behalf of the military, and on behalf of our responsibilities to the war. And I think that you bring a clear head to that situation. And I want to thank you for your service and all the things that you have done subsequent to your retirement. Meantime, sir, we have got to get going. Want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your family. Just out of curiosity, in one of the pictures that you have on your website, is that your younger sister standing next to you, sir?
Oh, I think you. Is this one that I just put up?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Lovely woman. I think that's your younger sister, right?
No, I think that lovely woman is actually Ann, who runs Dress for Success that we put up there. Is
Okay.
there clothes in the background?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She looks very much like
Okay.
my sister Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You're
Okay, all right.
absolutely right. And when I took the picture, I was looking at it later, and I said, "My gosh, that looks like one of my 6 sisters,
Yeah.
Elizabeth." But I have to tell you, boy, she runs that Dress for Success in a way that just helps so many people. And as we end here, you know, I loved serving in the Navy because you got to serve the country. I loved being a congressman. You got to serve people. And that's what I would like to everyone to remember is for this wonderful Christmas season, you can't do better for oneself than by serving others above yourself. And Christmas celebrates someone, the birth of someone who truly was the epitome of that, as others who praise others or serve, have religion for others, so did they. And that, I think, is the message for Christmas, of serving others. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, sir. We appreciate it. In the meantime, I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge Laborers Talk Radio.